Vignette number 95 from Zen Is Right Here, Teaching Stories and Anecdotes of Shunryu Suzuki. A group of us had lunch with Suzuki Roshi in New York City. People were wondering how we should treat this religious man and how we should act. Very early on in the lunch, he put a napkin on his head and sat there with it. Then we all put our napkins on our heads. He made everybody feel comfortable. That's from Joanne Kiger, and that happened in New York City in 1967. Joanne was a very, very early student of Suzuki's. She didn't, she always had a relationship at a distance with him in Zen Center. She didn't, continue with it. But she was there right at the first when he arrived in 1959. She was very close with his first student, Bill McNeil, and Lou McNeil, Bill McNeil's wife. Lou was actually the first person who came. She said that her husband wanted to study Zen and in Japan, and so she was going to bring him over, and she did, but she didn't let him know that she'd been there first, and so they became students. And he was pretty well known at least in the Bohemian crowd back then, artist, and but Joanne. I don't know the date. She was married to Gary Snyder. They were in Japan together. They broke up, and she lived in Bolinas for years, walking distance from where I lived there. And I loved visiting her. And Joanne was a very fine poet, and really was one of the beat and post-beat poets. And she's written books, and just a wonderful, very interesting person. And her husband, Don, and she were really nice to visit. Anyway, so when Suzuki was in New York with Richard Baker, drumming up interest in Tassajara and fundraising and stuff like that. Briefly in 1967, she was with a group that had dinner with him. I think that was in Greenwich Village. Anyway, I miss Joanne. She was wonderful, and I appreciate having heard that story from her. There is an interview with Joanne on Cuke.com. Just write Kiger, Kyger, in the site search box on the home page and a number of other pages, and that should bring it up. Bring up her Cuke page, which will have a link to her interview, or it might just go to the interview if there's no, I can't remember what there is about her there. I think there's more than that. Yeah. Okay. This has been a Cuke Audio mini podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from Sleepy Sanur with Doggett Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.